morning and welcome to You Be the Judge. Today we're going to talk about a subject that is so important in America. It's the fact that we have so many of our veterans committing suicide. And my first guests on this edition of You Be the Judge are two people that have done wonderful things for veterans in northeastern Pennsylvania. The co-hosts of Veterans Views, Judge Tom Munley and Larry Moran. And Judge, just recently we had a fella on your show who's working nationwide to put together an awareness of veteran suicide.
Yes, you're right, Todd. We had Magnus Johnson on the show, who's a friend of yours, and I have to credit you with getting him in here to help us to talk about veterans' views and what happens with suicide. And he told us, Magnus told us there's 22 suicides a day, Todd. It's hard to believe that. 22, and Larry Moran and I, Larry does the research for our show, and we were stunned at that figure. Most people can't even fathom that. And Magnus said something to us that really hit home. He said, picture a whole football team every day losing 22 people.
Yeah.
And that's what happens with the vets.
And it's something that not only under the radar nationally, but it's something that's not getting much help. And this is a veteran, Magnus Johnson, who's traveling the whole country on his own dime to get this done. Larry, what do you?
It's so crucial, and his efforts cannot be overstated. The truly frightening thing about the figures that we've just discussed, the idea that 22 veterans a day are committing suicide, is that we're learning that number is itself based on stale data. That we know that those figures were compiled in 2013, and newest projections from the VA think that the figures might even be higher. And you're so right, Todd. There is not enough awareness because it is such a sensitive topic. As a matter of fact, unfortunately it's a point of shame for veterans and their families to confront and deal with ideas and epidemics like post-traumatic stress, depression, addiction. Just the trauma that our veterans endure when they're in combat zones and that transition back to civilian life is really not easy. So I know that veterans can use all the support that they can get, and I'm thrilled to death that Magnus Johnson is out there doing what he's doing.
Judge, when we talk about people coming back from war, you began your legal career the day after you were discharged from the Army after a tour in Vietnam. How difficult was that?
Todd, it was so difficult for me, and I was lucky because I never, when I got back from Vietnam, Todd, I said to myself, I want to make something of myself. And I never engaged in any kind of the drugs that they were taking in Vietnam because it was loaded with drugs, Todd. I have to be honest about it. I just never took part in it. And I wanted a legal career. But Todd, it was so hard to transition from Vietnam. And then a couple of months later, you were sitting in a law school, going to law school. It was hard to concentrate. My first year in law school, Todd, I barely made it.
And that's true, I'm sure, of all of our veterans coming back to a family after
That's right.
13 months. And, in Vietnam, you had a break. 6 months, you went to Australia
I went to Hawaii.
or
That's
Hawaii,
right.
And your family could come visit you. These vets have 13, 14-month tours where they don't see anything
That's
but
right.
combat.
And the stress is unbelievable. That's what people don't realize, because you're not only dealing with you're in a war, but you're dealing with snipers, you're dealing with mortar rounds, artillery rounds, you're dealing with the explosive devices,
Booby traps.
Booby traps. I mean, and after 24 hours a day, that's on your mind, and all of a sudden it just affects people.
Well, you came back here and started that show, and the two of you have done wonderful things for veterans. I know it's a show that's watched a lot. We're glad to be an advertiser on it. And I'd ask all of my viewers to make sure you take the time on weeknights. At what time?
We're on at 5:35.
5:35 on WBRE, Monday through Friday.
And watch Veterans Views to learn what's going on in the veterans community here in northeastern Pennsylvania. When we come back, I want to introduce you to a fellow by the name of Magnus Johnson. So please stay tuned. Todd O'Malley here from O'Malley & Langen. If you're used to wearing these, and now you're stuck home wearing these, You may have a disability that prevents you from working. Call us at O'Malley & Langen. We can help you get the Social Security benefits that you've earned.
Are you a veteran who is looking to improve your math and writing skills? Enroll in RVATS at Marywood University.
It's been about 7 years since I was in school, and upon completing the RVATS program, I feel that it really helped me with my confidence in taking courses here at Marywood University.
These are free, non-credit classes for veterans and their spouses. Use your new skills to get a job or go back to school.
So it is such a great opportunity, and I'm thankful for it.
Contact us to enroll in RVATS at Marywood University today.
Welcome back. My guest for the rest of the half hour is a man that served his country well as a Green Beret, as a combat engineer. And he came home and saw that there was more work to be done because too many of his buddies who served in the Iraq and Afghanistan war were coming home and losing their lives to personal battles with suicide. I'm really proud to have as my guest today Magnus Johnson from the Mission 22 in Elderhart. Magnus, tell my viewers a little bit about what got you started in veteran suicide. And before we do, the shirt you're wearing, #Mission22. Tell us how that focuses on veteran suicide and the significance of the number 22.
22 veterans who commit suicide every day. #22 brings you to the website, mission22.com. And there you see all the different people across the U.S. talking about veterans issues, talking about different resources, talking about 22 veteran suicides a day. It's a bold social media campaign to make some accountability in America.
And you've done something already that I think is remarkable. You made a monument out in, is it in Indiana?
Right.
To the fact that there are 22 veterans per day committing suicide. Tell us a little bit about those leaves that were sculpted, and we've got them up on the screen now.
So that's about a 20-foot tall sculpture, and there's 22 leaves in that sculpture to represent 22 suicides a day. We did that sculpture because Nashville, Indiana is famous for fall leaves, and we wanted to find a way to enrich their community, but yet still tell our story. And that's the way we discovered to do the project. We had veterans build the project, and then we gave it to the town. So now that'll be there for the next 100 years.
And that was done by veterans, for veterans.
It was, and it was also done with local artists and local community members. We're not exclusive. We invite the community to come and participate. We think it's important that they do.
And your thought, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that if we create monuments to the bravery of these veterans, we can help veterans help themselves and help their communities. Am I saying it right?
Close, not specifically monuments. If we find community projects that are valuable to the community and valuable to the warriors, and we collaborate together, that will create the relationship between warriors and community that we need in this country.
And we're in a position now that the most important thing for us to do, and for our audience to do, is let people know that this is a national tragedy and disgrace, that we're losing so many good people and so many warriors to suicide simply because of the service they gave to our country.
One of the first casualty of war is truth, and the way we're going to stop this suicide epidemic is by starting to address it, make it open, make it translucent, and start working at it on a national level. It's going to take more than charities and a VA to address it. It's going to take the entire nation.
And you've been traveling around the country meeting with people like me, and last night you were with Judge Mundley and Larry Moran on Veterans Views, talking to them about the need to start to address this problem. How many other folks do you have involved in the Mission 22 program? And is there another corporation that marries up with Mission 22?
Our charity is Elderhart, and Elderhart and CPB created Mission 22. We've got hundreds of people involved at different levels of intensity. So, yeah, we've got a lot of involvement, and what we need is more, though. We need more involvement. We need folks involved in all different parts of different communities across the nation.
And you have with the Elder Heart program and Mission 22. You have some videos up on the website that are really worthwhile watching. Are they not?
Yeah, we don't hold back. We tell you exactly what's going on. We do it tastefully, but we're factual. And
I want to share with my audience that video that you showed me before we got on the air, talking about the problems that veterans face. So watch this video and ask yourself, isn't there something you can do?
we're in Nashville, Indiana, and it's between two state parks, and it's famous for its fall leaves. A lot of people might not know about veterans issues, might not care, but if they're coming here to look at fall leaves, we got the biggest leaves in town, right?
They had this idea for a sculpture, so then they told me about the project, and then Magnus and I had been working on this Elder Heart idea. Joe's coming. Joe, best.
Large-scale art is heavy duty. It's a job. I like that freedom of it. But then when I realized that people liked what I was doing, and then they wanted to put it in public places, I knew I could attach our message with them, and people would listen. It's going to be the most significant art piece that this town's had in quite some time.
The plaques that are going to be on this that are stating that 22 veterans are committing suicide every single day. Every day. That's horrible. Why do people not know that?
No one's going to say they didn't know about the 22 suicide. No one's going to say they didn't know the VA's backlog. Also, if you've got huge pieces, vets can't say that no one doesn't care. For as long as that piece is there, the town's going to know that warriors had a hand in their culture. Not only protecting it, but also enhancing it.
Who helped you with that video, Magnus?
That was a company out of Miami called CPB. Really great people. They heard about what we were doing. When I told them 22 vets, they didn't believe it at first. And they went home and did some research, and I suggest the viewers do too. And they were shocked. And they came back and said they wanted to help us.
And the work that they do for you is basically setting up videos like that and commercials and putting together the Mission 22 logo.
Yeah, we're so Elder Heart and the board of directors of Elder Heart, we're combat vets, regular folks, and so CP&B has got a lot of knowledge in marketing and advertising, and they helped us get on a national level, which we couldn't have done by ourselves.
And they've done it at what cost to you?
Zero.
This is all volunteer work on their
Absolutely
part.
zero.
And they're a major marketing company with offices in Miami.
They're a pretty big deal. Yep.
How did you happen to meet them?
Well, a friend of ours wanted to buy an art piece that we had made. We were selling art pieces so we could build Soaring, the leaf sculpture, and he wanted to buy a Viking ship I'd made. So we brought it down there and we told our story, and it just so happened that one of the people in that crowd was a high-up guy in CP&B, and they heard our story, went home, did the research, and they couldn't live with it. They had to help us. Once they went home and did the homework, they had to do something.
This summer I want you to come back here to see our iron furnaces, because this community was built on iron. People think it was coal, but the coal fed the iron furnaces, and the iron furnaces made the rails for the railroads that went across our nation. So I think there's a place for Mission 22 down in those iron furnaces because it's a great place for people to visit. And I'd love for you to take a look at it.
Well, I'd love to come back. We'd like to bring our team.
When we come back, I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the other projects that Mission 22 has and what our viewers can do to help Mission 22. So please stay tuned to You Be the Judge. Hi, I'm Todd O'Malley with the law offices of O'Malley and Langen. If I say the phrase life-changing experience, what do you think? Getting married, having a baby, buying a home, all good things. I'll bet you didn't think work injury, and that's a problem with our society. People don't realize a work injury can change everything, destroy your earning power, hurt your family, and damage your health. If you're hurt on the job, call O'Malley and Langen, 1-800-817-COMP.